welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm Ian Hansen, and I'm shouting at you for some reason, as though the audio would be turned down on this edition of the program. I'm in with intuitive medium and spiritual advisor Brenda Burgett, and I almost touched her boob. I'm sorry, it could have killed me. The way she zaps things, holy smokes! Today on the program, we're going to be discussing family dynamics, speaking of boobs, and you're attached to them for the first couple of years of your life, and then you move on into a higher plane of existence, Brenda.
Hopefully you move on. You know?
We try to have fun on this show, can you tell? Brenda, we are going to talk about the family unit today,
Yes,
and how it changes.
Minus the boobs.
I'd like to keep the boobs in the equation, actually. That'd be just fine with me.
I know you would, but I've told you before we're going to try to make this a family show.
Okay.
No boobs.
Just imagine if, like the scene with Barbarella and all the aliens laying around getting stoned, if that was my mother. That would be, that's right where you can put me in the arms of every night. So you have seen that movie, haven't you?
I haven't seen anything. I've led a very sheltered life.
Hasn't seen any movies.
I read, I write, I don't watch porn, I just don't do any of this.
That's enough to make her qualify as, yeah, exactly. You could go to private school. I read, I write, I don't watch porn. Oh, she's in Mensa. I mean, it's perfect. So, Brenda, we have two questions. One at the front side that'll have to do with our main topic today, and one that we'll try and squeak in at the back side of the program today. Does that sound all right?
Let's
okay,
try.
Remember, you can get your questions to Brenda Burgett if you'd like to. It can be about anything at all. Usually it's about things that you already know the answers to, and that's the idea of how this works. Through Brenda's intuitive gift, it's going to be passed along to show you your own gift, and you can get your own answers to your own questions. But she'll help you along the way. Get those questions in. Go to the website. It's bridgingthegapwithbrenda.com. Same website, different address, bridgingthegaptv.com. Also on YouTube, watch our shows. They're archived there. It's Bridging the Gap on TV. That's the place to go. Hello Ghana, by the way, which is the Bridging the Gap TV that we wanted, but we couldn't get. We hope everything's well in the northwestern coast of Africa. Brenda, this first question goes as follows.
Okay.
It's rather lengthy. It says, I feel, it comes in from Darlene, by the way, too. I feel so trapped, and I have 3 sons to raise without any or very little help from their father. Their father is not a bad person. He just can't seem to find himself or where he should be. I am capable of doing everything, but I have 2 more years of this before the boys are on their own. She must be speaking of age, I imagine, legally. How do I continue doing this without resenting their father? How does the divine think I should continue? And what if I just say, and these are her words, not mine, because I would never curse on this show, the hell with all of this, I'm walking away from my kids. I'm getting very angry and resentful. I don't know if I can do this for the 2 more years that I told you about. What do they say, they meaning the spirit guides, is my destiny for the next few years? Big stuff.
Big stuff. A lot of people are asking that question. Very few people, first of all, before they talk, have a family that they think is perfect, or at least working. How many people go to bed every night and say, well, I blew it, you know, I'll do better tomorrow. Or, I don't know what I'm going to do with these children, I don't know where I'm going and what's going on. It seems to be the people that come to me are wondering what they got themselves into, why this isn't working. I think probably number 1 is quit expecting so much out of yourself and your children. You know, if you, and I'm not telling anybody have the answers for motherhood, because I've been banned from the motherhood hall.
She got a letter from Mr. Rogers, literally, that said, you're banned from motherhood.
2 children, 2 sons, Robert Richards and Greg Richards. Hi, kids.
Oh, wow, she actually said their names.
I want to, because I want them to be embarrassed.
Almost sounded like a parole board hearing, didn't it? Robert Richards. And Robert, you have your papers. Yeah. Just put them down right there.
Yeah. I don't think any of us come fully equipped to handle children. We always look at our families and see what worked or what we thought didn't work more than maybe what did work. One of the exceptions, I think, is my friend, who gives credit where credit's due. We admire certain parts of his family members.
This would be Shuffy.
I wasn't going to say that.
This would be our technical guru, the guy that films all this and puts up with basically all of our lame wannabe celebrity crap, and that would be Shuffy, who's behind the camera right now. Give him Inchy. Inchy, hello, hello there, there's Inchy. That's all you're ever going to see of him, actually, because I don't want to give him that much credit. That is his index finger, too, by the way, not anything else. Don't worry about it. Philadelphia, you can put your hands down now, so... All right, Brenda, so can I throw this out there? I mean, maybe you weren't done, but...
I'm as done as I can be.
Well, we want to help Darlene. So as far as her passage is concerned with this, let's do that, and then we'll get into talking about, again, the dynamics of a family from a spiritual aspect.
Okay, what's going on, and this is a person I've worked with in the past.
It is, okay.
And what's going on in this is just the fact that it's you might think a bad choice of husband, wife, mother, father, but it's a perfect blend of people. They have just beautiful children, and she handpicked the sperm bank, and there he says. You know, so...
Don't you hate that?
It's just the way it's supposed to be, and now all of a sudden, I've done all this, and what are you doing? Well, she's doing exactly what she wanted him to do when she picked him out. They are saying all is the way you picked it out, the way it's supposed to be, and actually to quit being so hard on everybody around you and enjoy what's there. 3 very, very nice young kids. And they will be fine. They will be what they came here to be. They have a contract just like you did. Don't give yourself so much credit. Hey, do what you can do the best you can do, have some fun with it, relax, and cut the significant other, or whatever it is, a little bit of slack here, and know that you picked him out. He's exactly who you wanted. He's there. He doesn't do anything. What would he do if he did? Would you cut his head off? Yes. It is what it is. Do the best you can by being who you are, relaxing and breathing and looking at these 3 creatures as people that you have created. Have their very own contract. If they only have 2 more years left, then there's not a whole lot you're going to do except enjoy them or make their lives miserable. And your own, number one. Most important thing that comes through in this whole thing is it's exactly the way you created it. You handpicked everything in this life. And in this particular case, that's what you did. So you look around and you say, well, why isn't he disciplining these children? Because when they were younger, you would cut his head off. You pick someone who is not capable of any disciplining whatsoever, very capable of loving and kindness, but that's been cut out of him. He's sitting there. He is someone you created. You ask, how's that possible? So one day, hopefully, he'll look around and decide who it was. He picked this life himself.
Oh, it's possible. You've seen those robotic spouses before. I mean, they're out there, I think.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It just is what it is, and it works for the wife or the husband or the partner, whatever they are, each other. That's, if it's working or it's not working. But it is something that was created by the people that are involved in it. So don't stand up and give anybody a bad time because they're not doing something.
All right, now it's going to be difficult for me to be candid on this particular edition of the program given the subject matter because the person who is, again, technically involved in filming may just want to wipe it all out because he has 2 children already and has a 3rd on the way. Congratulations. Smoke the cigar in advance and think of Monica Lewinsky. So,
okay.
Well, that's fine. She's, purses aren't her only specialty after all. It is election season. I have to sneak these jokes in there. And again, donkeys and elephants, I'm rooting for both of you. Let's see who wins the race. So, buy a trunk. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. So, Brenda, in my experience with people who have children, they very often have children because they seem to want to have them for their own reasons. So, it's and that's fine. But I think it's maybe going to be very advantageous to people who are thinking about this from dare I say, a more enlightened perspective, perhaps, to say that you are responsible for creating the physical vessels biologically, but those spirits leap in there. Those people that they will become are already there. Now, there are two schools of thought on this, and during my talk show that had a nice long run here on regional television, but got cut short because of some bad decision-making by management, we won't go into that. I used to work with somebody who was of the theory that we come in, we're clay, and we're totally malleable. I do not believe that. I believe, of course, as you do, that we come in fully equipped. We do pick up things, and we can be changed. Our brains can be altered into thinking different things. We can lead lives that aren't exactly what we're supposed to, so we have to remember ourselves out of that.
Exactly.
Part of what we talk about all the time. So for parents, it's tough, because I see parents wanting to do this. I see them, I see the ones that obviously, get your eye on the ball, and this guy couldn't hit a baseball or any kind of, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with his own head if he had to. Probably did a few times by mistake, but so parents are constantly either wanting to cast things on their children that they weren't ever good enough to be, so now they're going to be that, gosh darn it, sorry about the southern accent, or they're going to be exactly like the model soldier that your dad is, or going to be exactly a chip off the old block. But never what they've come here to be. And isn't it funny how the Renaissance piano player and the boy who likes to dress up in, pink ascots and go to school always seems to fall to the father that hates that stuff, So isn't that funny? What's going on with that? I mean, specifically, pink ascots and all.
What's going on with that?
Well, why do because if souls choose to jump in and they choose their parents, and because we've talked about this stuff before, why would they choose such an awkward setting then?
I don't really know, and I know that answer probably makes you as crazy as it does.
Oh, it's not good enough. We have to get more from her.
Here's the deal. It's a contract you have, he had, they have. It's really easy to look at other people when they're raising their children and say, what are you doing there? As a grandmother,
I love it.
A wonderful grandmother. I watch our buddy here with his two little boys, adorable kids.
They're all right.
No, they're adorable. They're really.
They're sweet.
And
they're
I
sweet.
was not very. I was pretty rough on my kids. They had to.
Oh, please.
And oh no, I was. But anyway, I see what he's doing, and I see that he is trying, and he is doing what he believes to be the right thing. And I can be around him just a short while and see that I approve it for what it's worth, because he does everything with love, and they have some guidelines, but he loves them. It's
Nothing
so
wrong with guidelines. I mean, I'm not suggesting that a child should come into the world and be left to stay out until 4 in the morning when they're 7 years old.
They have to be 8.5 before they should be let out.
I think 9. I'm really cruel like that. 9.
You're tough.
And don't even think about dating until, well, thanks to the folks at E-Trade who apparently think that it's like somehow nifty that babies are looking at like sex pictures of giraffes and trading like stuff like that. You've seen those ads with the baby? Yes, you have. I hate those commercials with a passion. It's disgusting. Like babies would care about that stuff. Take them off the air. I can't believe how many brain-dead people like those things either. Sorry, Brenda. I know we're supposed to have love and unity, but come on. Anyway.
You only have love and unity at work.
They got it from me anyway. Here, be love and unity. I hate those commercials still, but I can't stand them. It's gross. Hey, so we know there has to be structure and guidelines, Brenda. Every parent is going to have their own set of rules, but what about allowing a child, because one of the things that I'm the most thankful for in my life is that I had a father who was very detached and just really kind of doesn't even know that I'm here, and that's fine, because I came to grips with that, and it's okay. But my mother made a conscious decision to just let me really take off on my own path. And there was some guidance, but really it was, well, if he's interested in this, let him be interested in it. And, I wasn't interested in anything weird or upset. Well, a few things, but I'm so thankful that I was not raised with a strict set of, you will be like me in this way, you will like these things because boys like these things, or because boys who are going to be like you like these things, or because, you're going to have this set of friends, because that, I was left to determine those things on my own, in particular my spiritual path, and I can't possibly thank my mother enough for that, and I know that I chose her for that reason. So how does a parent who's conscious of that, who wants to become more conscious of that, get that done and still, again, have this framework for their children that they can feel good about having some control over, so they know they're doing the right thing.
It's such an individual thing. And again, I'm the last person in the world to give parental advice. But I do know that when I find people in my presence who, well, my mother and my dad, and this happened, and it's like, they don't know it, but they're about to get their spiritual legs cut off. There comes a time when you have to realize that everyone who brought a child into this world did the very best they could with what they had to work with. I'm not going to, it's not an alibi, it's not an excuse, it's not anything, but if they really screwed it up, if they hurt their child, they were operating on a level that only they understand. And the child reaches a certain stage in their life where they have to say, that's the way it was, and I've heard some horrible things. I've heard some awful things, and how do I say, well, that person was doing the best they can? Because that's all they had to work with at that time. And this child or this adult person, normally, sometimes very older people, they don't figure it out till they're my age or close. And they have to say, I had this life, this is what was here, and because of that, I am who I am now. And if I'm still screwed up, then I'm embracing that part of my life. You have the option of taking and changing it around. All right, we're talking about children here and parents. Everybody does the best they can or not. Why do they have children? Don't know, beats me all to pieces. Maybe they had them because that was what happened. But
I think some people have them, Brenda, because it's what people do. That's what I've heard. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have been approached, and to me, I find it, now I'm getting a little bit older. My wife is, she's beautiful for her age, but let's face it, she's getting towards an age where, biologically speaking, she's going to be out of the. It's not me. I mean, science is what's telling us this. It's all science's fault. It's always that. It's a crazy Mr. Wizard guy and his, intrauterine chart that he brought down on that one episode they banned. Have you seen that? Look it up on YouTube. It's probably still running somewhere in Angola or something like that. So, Brenda, what I'm trying to drive at, I suppose, here is the fact that, again, people have kids because it seems to be expected of them when people will approach me and say, so when are we going to have some little ones? I mean, I find it a little offensive, actually, that you would, ask me about my procreative plans. It's sort of personal to me. But it just seems like, and I always ask people, why? Why is it so important that we have kids, me and my wife? Well, it's what people do. And you wouldn't believe how many times I have heard that as the answer when I have asked them back, well, why would we want to do that? Because it's what people do. So it is what people do. So they do it. Do they want to do it? I don't know. Are they questioning it in advance? I mean, I don't think there's anything like being a little prepared for something as large as bringing a life into the world, but hey, mistakes happen. I'm living proof of that. I wasn't planned. So. Well,
and when I was young married, you were supposed to have 2.5 children.
2.5?
Yes,
I thought you came from the era where it was 7.5.
No, that was earlier.
Oh, that was earlier on. Okay. This was a pre-Utah America. I'm sorry.
And I did have
the Beehive State. You wonder why. There's like 1 million of them in there. Though.
I did have the 0.5.
Cut that out, Jason.
Don't cut it out, Jason. Leave it.
No, I was only kidding. Leave it in. We love you, Utah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What are we talking about?
You were talking about your 2.5 children. And we don't want to talk about the 0.5 on this forum. So.
Well, we actually do.
It's probably your oldest son, isn't it?
No, that was my daughter. We called her 0.5 until she was old enough to ask us what we were talking about. And yeah, just a lot of things go into play. I don't really care. I'm dumb as to gosh, don't give a darn why they have them or whatever. But
whatever.
I don't. Do you?
I don't. I mean, I really don't. It's someone else's life, and.
Right.
I think I get a little exasperated with parents that feel like because they've procreated, that somehow gives them some sort of phenomenal rights that other people don't have, but that's just a personal pet peeve. I mean, no, you can only care so much about total strangers, but if we are talking about that harmony, if we are talking about that resonance with everything, and all those souls, no matter how many of them there are, they keep making are part of it, well, then we like to balance that out somehow, wouldn't we? We'd like to kind of all get on a similar wavelength, maybe?
Not necessarily, and I think before you were born, they decided you shouldn't be allowed to breed, and they took that right away from you.
I've just,
What do you think?
I have just staunchly never, ever been interested in
Breeding.
children. Ever. No. It's just not in the cards for me. It's
And
just,
that's a very fortunate thing that you don't have a child.
oh,
I have
yes.
a son who said that exactly, and now he has a perfect little girl, and he's become a perfect parent.
Mm.
So
That's
be
what I fear.
careful of what you say.
Yeah, see, I just don't want to be perfect, but yet
Especially-
something else. So, that's what I fear. I'd have to go to all the meetings and show up all those other parents. I'd have to dig out my original game of operation.
Such a burden.
It is.
It
It really is. Well, we kind of create our own burden, and I guess that's one of the
Yes,
things, too,
we do.
that is in this question that we led off with, and also that you hear parents struggle with, and it's the first thing that always comes to mind. You know, and again, I mean, people are just going to be sending in cards and letters, they're going to be throwing things at their screens, but I hear this one a lot, too, Brenda. Single mom. Well, I'm a single mother. I mean, it's like, well, I can't pay for that today. I'm a single mother. I'm struggling. I mean, but you chose all of that. You chose to have the children. You chose to procreate with the person that you did. You chose not to use protection if it was an issue to you at all. I mean, so all of these things are choices, and I'm not getting on people for where they're at necessarily or their choices. I'm just saying that when you embrace the choice, when you own it, as we talk about so often, you might be able to change it now that all that's happened, because there's no putting it back, is there? The Japanese may be working on that. But
I think they're working on it. I think they're working on it, yeah. Yeah. The whole thing about the parent thing and wondering why she doesn't have any help with her children and you know, why in the world is this all going on? Choice. You chose it. You chose your husband.
But it seems like sometimes, Brenda, these parents, especially maybe someone who says, well, I'm a single mom, I can't do that, or I just don't have any free time.
Well, she's
It's like they just fell out all of a sudden. It's just, I was just burdened with these one day. And it's, I mean,
when the children are raised, she'll be saying, well, you know.
but how unempowered is that person? Again, I don't want to pick on these people. I don't want to pick on single moms. They're great. They're raising kids. A lot of them are working. They're fine people. I know single mothers. But how unempowered can you feel when it's just like, this just happened to me all of a sudden? I mean, don't you have to at some point say, I did this?
No.
You don't?
Of course not. They'll go through their entire life, and then after they raise the children, they'll say, I have no retirement because I raised 3 children by myself.
Okay.
That's the way it seems to work. And then there are the people who are married and raised, and they're single parents. That's the way it works. That's the choices you've made. And I give absolute all the credit in the world to parents. It's a tough one. And that's why I'm choosing now not to ever be one again.
One of the things about Darlene's question here that I think of when I hear that line all the time is I always say there's a lot of single parents out there who are still married.
Exactly.
And it sounds like Darlene is one of them because
and
she's doing this all by herself.
But she chose to do it all by herself.
Well, that's fine, but that's what we're getting at.
Exactly. And the best thing she can do right now, if she's got 2 more years with, I'm thinking these children, 2 more years and 3 kids, that doesn't quite add up, you know, unless she's going to kick one out at 17. Do the best you can and stop and enjoy it. You've already created these humans. You've given them life. They're there. If they're not treating you the way you're supposed to, you taught them how to treat you. Start treating yourself better. Start thinking more about yourself. Figure out what works for you and do the best you can.
There was a playset that was made, probably by Mattel or Fisher-Price, I'm not sure, in the 80s after Indiana Jones. The first movie came out called The Well of Souls.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you seen Indiana Jones, the
I
first
have.
one? A movie she's seen! Round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very good. My hands weren't clapped. Something's going on. Strange. Okay. Need the buffering. Well of Souls.
Okay.
Makes me think about the Guff. Do you know what the Guff is?
No.
Okay, the Guff is, I believe I think it's a Greek concept. It might be somewhere. I may be wrong on my background on that. I'm sorry about that. But it's an ancient thought. It's an old school thought. It's a story that souls are manufactured like water in a well. So it is, in essence, the Well of Souls.
Okay.
And there's a great movie that I know you probably haven't seen with Demi Moore. Sorry about Ashton, by the way, Demi. too young for you. Speaking of kids, she wanted one, she got one. Now she kicked him out, I guess. So, with Demi Moore, it was called The Seventh Sign, was made in the 80s, embraced a lot of, they did a really good job with it because it dealt with the Christian Bible's account of what the apocalyptic days are going to be like, but it works in all this other theology, and it takes pieces of the Quran, it takes other things, and one of the things it takes is this idea of the guff, and that is the well of souls that is emptied, that any beings that come into this universe after the well of souls, or the guff as it's called, is exhausted, are in essence soulless beings. They're not evil necessarily, but they just don't have a soul. They're just walking bodies. And you know what? I have too, and I'm seeing more and more of them all the time. They seem to like pork and beans, Larry the Cable Guy. They go to a lot of monster truck events, you know, very, very big on CMT, it seems like to me. So, Brenda, my question is, by the way, we love all those things.
Yes.
No, we don't. I don't, anyway. Is the guff empty? I mean, that's a big question, but are you, as a spiritual advisor, as an intuitive, have you ever had someone come to you, or are you dealing with people who you really don't get anything from?
Never.
Never. So there is something inside of all of us.
The people that come to me because they have needs, and spiritual needs and questions. So obviously I'm not getting the people that don't have the soul.
You don't believe that that's the case, though?
No,
You don't believe that there is an exhaustible supply of human souls that could occupy a physical body, humanity?
No.
Okay. That's what I wanted to find out. So.
And no.
Because we've broached 8 billion, I believe, on the face of this little blue-green orb, and we're going to be at 9 before the end of this decade, I think, from what they said. I think Shuffy was just thinking about how many more kids he wanted to have, and if that was going to put it over the top or not. Apparently, he said yes, so... I love these opportunities.
I can't wait for his wife to see this, and all of a sudden...
Oh, she'll love it.
That her biological clock is at 11 o'clock.
Hey, it was her OBGYN who just told her that, and she said, you know how offensive that was? I mean, my OBGYN is doing my annual checkup so that we can make sure we continue getting the stuff so we don't actually have a child because we don't want one. And she says, you know, you've only got a few good years left. What do you mean, like the back tires are worn out, but the fronts are okay for now? I mean, a few good years left. What? And change them out. Let's put Firestones on there. I'll have a better time, that's for sure. So, you want to meet somebody that wants children less than I do? Talk to my wife. She doesn't want them. I mean, children cry in supermarkets, and she wants to go yell at the parents. Like, would you just get him out of here? I mean, I've never seen anything like it, quite frankly. Because I don't placate the kids. It's not their fault. They're just doing the best they can. It's their parents you should blame. So.
Okay.
You wanted humorous injection, you got it. So.
That's not funny. That's not funny.
We're just introducing ideas. We're just having fun. I'm playing the devil's advocate today because I love that role, actually. So.
And you're very good at it.
Thank you so much.
Very
I appreciate
good.
that. And you're very good at your role, which is what you are.
What am I?
Spiritual medium, intuitive advisor. You have time for one more question to do your
we have a
your gift with
Do
here?
we have time? Okay, let's do it.
Shuffy says we have time.
Okay.
He's got time to make 2 or 3 more kids. We got time for one more question, don't you think? This is going to be like the lost episode. This is never going to get posted on the web. So this is going to be the lost episode, so enjoy it. If this ever becomes anything at all, you're going to have like a piece of history. So, Brenda, this question comes in from someone in anonymity, which again is fine. You don't have to give me that. You can use one of those email addresses that's been piling up at Yahoo or Gmail or something that you never use for stuff just like this and all those registrations that you make on the credit card your wife doesn't know about either. Oh, sorry. This question, speaking of spouses, says, my wife is very high maintenance. She does nothing without drama and fuss. I get so weary of her, and yet I made a commitment to stay with her till the first shovel of dirt hits either one of our caskets. I like this person. Apparently it's a guy. Could you guess? Do I have to be unhappy the rest of my life? What is in this karmically for me? And do you have any suggestions, old wise one? Hey, you watch the old, all right? She's doing just fine. So.
Right now I'm thinking the first shovel of dirt's going to hit your casket.
And I'm thinking of the Alan Parsons Project song that closes the album Eye in the Sky called Old and Wise. It's very cool. Eric Wolfson has a great voice. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, you chose this relationship, you chose this woman. Do you have to stay there the rest of your life? Absolutely not. Why would you want to? If it's that miserable, why are you doing there? You're getting something out of it or you wouldn't be there. The drama she creates is because you have none. I'm seeing you as being someone who sits back like this. The only drama that's in her life is created by her. That's the way you like it, that's the way it's going to be. Change it if you want to. Do what you need to do to be happy.
Ah, okay. You know what I'm picturing when you just displayed that scenario to us? Shuffy, you'll probably know the answer to this question. Neapolitan ice cream. Vanilla's on one side. What's next, the chocolate or the strawberry?
Strawberry.
The strawberry? Okay, and then the chocolate's down at the end. Seems to me like you're describing him as being the vanilla in this quotient. She's the strawberry because it has all the zing, zow, powy. But there's some chocolate at the end of this you probably aren't looking at that you have to deal with too. I don't know, it just comes to mind.
You know, the interesting thing about this, I talk to very few happily married people.
Oh, that's sad.
It's true, but they're not.
Well, you're sitting next to one, gosh darn it.
Dang it, yes. Two, I have two here in this very
We can't count Shuffy. He just wants those kids.
He just wants kids.
His wife, she just makes those kids for him, that's all. That's all she's good for.
Oh my gosh. Remember, he said that.
I don't think that'll make the final edit. So.
I don't know about that.
We're not leaving him in charge of pulling this one either. This is all on me to post. So. You run into very few happily married people in your work as an intuitive?
Because most people are not happy with themselves. Until they die, and then the person that passed is a saint. And they love him very much, and they were so happily married, which is just garbage. It wasn't that way at all. It's okay, it is what it is. It gets right back down, oh, how boring can this be? You make the choice. You're with this person. I'm going to stick it out, then stick it out. Are there children that are involved? You know, what are you going to do? You're going to stick around for those kids? That's your choice. Do what you have to do here. But own the fact that you picked this person to begin with. Either didn't run fast enough, tripped, and she fell on you, which is what I hear.
That happened to me once. Didn't marry her.
Oh my goodness. I don't know that that'll have to be cut out. The lust is so bad.
Right now the Greeks are clamoring, no, leave it in, leave it in. So.
Okay, leave it in. So, not being a great authority on anything other than what they say to me is, it's your choice, you created, it's there, like it, leave it, accept it, ignore it. It's your life. What do you want to do with it? You want to be happy? Or do you not want to be happy? Can you be happy with someone who is so totally the opposite of you? Well, yeah. Be happy with yourself. Figure out what makes you happy and either move, don't move, do what you need to do to make yourself happy. Lose the excuses, lose the alibi. There's so much drama in this person's life. I would imagine when you first met this little cheerleader chick, you thought that drama was wonderful and you could hardly wait to make them yours. She's still cheering after 40 years of this.
I think that could save their marriage.
I think it could.
One very high quality set of pom-poms in a dual color scheme of your choice, and this is how all of the frustrations and agony of the relationship come to the forefront, is, you know, we're all out of milk. We're all out of milk. Get off your lazy ass and go to the store and get some milk. I think that's what he's looking for. I mean, you're describing.
You bought whole milk, and where's the 2%? He went to the store.
Oh, wow.
And she brought home the wrong thing.
I had no idea they were vegans.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right, Brenda. To me, there couldn't be a more profound example of what you're saying than the trophy wife or husband, trophy spouse scenario.
Yes.
You know, and no one lived in denial of that more than the dearly departed Anna Nicole Smith, who, when she talked about her husband, who was 268 years old and was one of the original, he sailed over on the Mayflower, for goodness sakes. She said, oh no, we really loved one another. We connected. And you know, strangely enough, people who knew them said they did kind of get along. But he was loaded and he was 200.
That's all I'm looking for in my next husband.
That's all. See, and that's how easy it can be.
That's all I want. Loaded and...
Well, And we don't have time for this, but
Okay.
maybe on a, well, we can make time, I guess. But we're getting this from Shuffy wants to wrap this one up. He hasn't liked this show too much at all. So, but isn't that again coming back to self and saying to yourself, look, this is what I want, and I'm not the kind of person who looks for a deeper relationship, or I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me or missing from me in some deep, meaningful way. So I just want someone who's hot and looks good and I can run around with and look good with. Okay, I mean, you see that every day.
As long as you realize that what's hot and looks good today will eventually meet with gravity.
Well, and science is working on that quickly. I mean,
Yeah,
they're making some incredible advancements. Have you seen Raquel Welch or Heather Locklear? Have you seen them?
Oh my gosh.
You have to say, I mean, because Raquel Welch is like 80 or something now, and it's like, no way. There's no possible way. So with enough money, it is possible to maintain.
That's why I mean.
It's not for everybody though, Brenda, that's
No,
the thing.
No, it's not.
But I think that's an easy example to look at to say, boil it down, because I think people who have a lot of money and who frankly will, you know, they're all about the prenup, they don't want to share any of that, they just really do want, I'm looking for someone to run around town and look good with me and I'll spend money on you. I'm okay with that. Fine. I mean, I think you see a lot of that. I think it goes both ways in this day and age too. We tend to think of it, man has money, he's older. Cheerleader's
Yeah.
18, but not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I'm looking for an 18-year-old pool boy myself. Cut that out.
And no, don't cut that out, because we want you to send in your resume to be Brenda's next pool boy.
And that's
you
all
can
that
do
will
that.
be required. Since I have no pool, you'll have to dig it, create the pool, and then maintain
You're
it.
giving away all the stuff in advance. We just, you know.
Oh,
Pictures are welcome, but not required. You can just tell us about yourself. If you do send a picture, a large banana leaf and nothing more is probably very suggestible.
not
So.
interested in that. I like Nicole's idea.
Anna Nicole Smith. Yeah, she's not with us anymore. So maybe we could have her here sometime in spirit. So we promised to show this empty chair off to our left since our table got replaced. There's a bulb in there right now, but yeah, pan over to that. So now this is your exercise for the week to see how you're doing with your Ouija business, as we call it. Can you see anyone in this chair? Give you a second. No? You need to watch Bridging the Gap more, because the gift will come.
That
right?
will come. The longer
That's
you
just-
watch
that's exactly it. So
and whoever will appear.
nice pan, by the way. Oh, okay. Jason's a satyr at heart. Oh, people who know Greek mythology just got that. So Brenda, it's fun.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
She wanted us to have fun on episodes
I do.
14 and 15, and I think that maybe she wants to tone that down a little bit now.
No,
so.
no.
Okay. Get your questions into Brenda through the website, and also if you are a pool boy in training and want to be Brenda's next pool boy, for goodness sake, send us that stuff too. Actually, anything you want us to chew on, we'll do it. Questions are probably the most affordable thing we have time for on our website. That would be at bridgingthegaptv.com or bridgingthegapwithbrenda.com. Either will work. Brenda will address your questions. You'll have some fun with us on the next edition of the program. It'll feature intuitive medium and spiritual advisor Brenda Burgett.
We're going to get you on your meds, and it'll be a much calmer.
It'll go back to being the dull show that it was from episodes 1 through 14. But 15 and 16, or 14 and 15, I guess, were a rousing success. Yay! So,
Okay.
thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you next time. I'm Ian Hansen. Until the next time around on Bridging the Gap, enjoy your existence, folks. We'll talk soon.